Take two. Okay, guys, we are back. And I'm going to try to attempt to film this one more time because I tried to do it last night. Oh my gosh, I was so bored. I had zero energy. I could not make this crap interesting to save my life. And I am so sorry that I am now thrusting it upon you, but I am nothing but a completionist. So therefore, we have to finish the episode. Whether it's going to be 4 parts or 5 parts at the end, I don't know. Just know I'm going to be cutting out a lot of really boring stuff that we just do not care about. Nobody cares what Allie's favorite song lyric is. And you know, it's funny because Maria was in my comments, and on the first video of the series, she said something like, she's like, oh, it only gets worse. What did she mean by that? Because I originally thought she meant the cattiness gets worse, but maybe she just means the episode is just that bad. And honestly, Maria, I should have listened to you. So yeah. Anyways, guys, let's get into it. Let's jump into it. Enough with the introduction. Let's just watch this thing. You know, we'll do our best. Okay, where did we leave off from? It was Allie talking about her really tragic history with her father. Allie was diagnosed BPD. We don't make the connections between those two things for whatever reason. And we're going to now finish out this episode. There's about 30-ish minutes left on this thing, and I've been doing about 14, 15 minutes per part, but we're just going to have to see how much I can actually do. Like I said, cutting out a whole bunch that's not interesting, and so if you see a bunch of jumps and skips and hops, that's what that is. Go back and watch the episode yourself on their own channel if you really want to know what song lyric Allie loves. And with that, let's get started.
So you said something, and it sparked something in me.
Yeah.
You said, "It don't impress me much." And I can't help but think about our girl, Shania, and you just kicking in the door. And so with that
Let's
said,
go, girls.
I wanna get into a little bit more about Allie.
Okay.
And specifically Allie,
Mhm.
not our brother.
Mm-hmm.
And that just brought me to our love of music. You and I are karaoke queens. And
we do have some great car concerts.
I was gonna say the car part was on purpose, and it took me a full 0.5 seconds to get there.
It took me a full 7 seconds.
It wasn't until you had a recognition that I said I'm missing something.
If it means a lot to you.
yeah.
Yeah. It's so good, right?
I agree.
You're not a part of this.
We're not part of
Okay.
it.
We have superior music
This is where I'm
taste.
like,
Music girly.
I know Maria
Oh,
wouldn't ask me this question. I'm like, do not ask me any question about any songs. I don't know them. It won't happen.
No, you have a sugar cult.
I know sugar
I
cult.
know
That's okay.
where
Yeah,
to go.
what's a sugar cult? She's younger than us. She's a baby. She's a baby. She missed the emo
Alyssa,
phases of the
You know
2000s.
how I've been nice to you lately?
Oh my god, no.
You just got kicked out again. Go sit in the corner.
Okay, so guys, they've been laughing for like, I don't know, 5 minutes now about the word karaoke, what song lyrics they like. And Alyssa just asked what a sugar cult is because she's a little bit younger than these millennial women. She's like a early Gen Z. And Maria just basically said, she's like, you're getting kicked out of the group. And it's so interesting to me that like, I really have to wonder what kind of state of mind Maria was in here where she felt so secure to say something like that. Obviously in a joking way. Like we're not taking that seriously at all. But then she literally got kicked out of the group right after. So I have to wonder why she thought she was on more solid ground and what's going to happen here. What happened behind the scenes that changed from there. But her being able to make that kind of joke. Because if she actually thought that she had any chance of getting kicked out of the group, she wouldn't make that kind of joke. So something must have happened between here and the next episode. Well, I mean, she did film the next episode, but you know what I mean. But by the time they posted the next episode, what happened? Where did she lose that footing?
Canceled yourself, girl.
Oh my god, that was a great question. Thank you.
Well, on the same thread.
No, wait, but no one answered me.
It's a band.
It's okay. Thank you.
It's what actually all the fat people are in, the sugar cult.
I gotta sign up. Join now.
One of us.
One of us. Glorifying obesity, one fat person at a time. All right. We can have downlines. Let's make this MLM style and like, we'll earn some money along the
I'm
way.
absolutely, you know what? Hey girl.
It's so interesting. Alyssa just made some weird offhand obesity joke. She just said glorifying obesity one fat person at a time. And typically, I don't think most fat people, by just being fat, are glorifying obesity. But I do think people are as fashion focused as they are when they're constantly talking about fashion. There is sort of a glorification thing there, as in they're trying to say, hey, you can be fabulous and fat at the same time. That in itself is glorifying. Not that they're doing it here, but I just think it's just she made that joke in an offhand way. And then we've seen enough episodes to know just how much they care about fashion.
Hey, boss
Hey,
babe.
boss babe.
Do you need your sugar today?
Oh my god.
That's what it's like being in the real estate industry too. Hey, boss babe.
Okay, so we just got your music thing, and we know that you name yourself Lights Camera Alley. You've got a big ass,
I do.
big tits, big mouth, and a big dream.
I love it. Can you write my bio for me?
And I want to hear about your biggest dream for yourself.
I'm gonna be
Ooh.
famous.
Girl,
I wanna
don't
hear more
dream.
about
I want to
that.
hear like what is your dream fame scenario?
I'm gonna have a stand-up special on Netflix.
Whoa, that's interesting. When she said I want to be famous, I thought she was joking for a second, but that really explains a lot. That makes so much sense. Like people with those kind of cluster B personality disorders, there is like a reaching for fame. And it's also such an Enneagram 4 thing. Like Enneagram 4s, they want to feel so freaking special. A lot of them really want to be famous. They want to be acclaimed for something. She wants to have a Netflix comedy special. That's very interesting to me because I feel like in order to be a very good comedian, you really do have to know how to take criticism. I mean, comedians can make fun of themselves first more than anything else. But we all know how thin of a skin Allie has. So like it's interesting too because if you go to her Instagram page right now, and somebody made a really good point, like she's just like she hops on whatever bandwagon is going on right now. She's going through her political activist check, right? She's posting every single generic like left wing talking point on her Instagram, and that's not me like ragging on left wing politics. I'm just saying that's just what she's doing. Okay, I had to pause there for a second because I forgot to turn my phone off. The alarm was going off, telling me I need to start filming. Yeah, and that does also make sense because her name is Lights Camera Alley, right? Lights Camera Alley. I always thought that was weird. I thought it was just, the fact that she was on a podcast. But, it's interesting because most people say, like, oh, I want to be an author. Oh, I want to be an actress. Oh, I want to be a singer. But I want to be famous. That's unusual. It's like you don't really care about really what you're doing as long as it brings you attention. It's odd.
100%.
Yes.
I'm hilarious.
You are hilarious.
I need to go back to doing stand-up. It's been a while. But yeah, I want to have a stand-up special on Netflix.
That was
I'll
one of
be
my
that
questions.
girl.
So let's get right into it.
Yes.
If anybody happens to know of a stand-up special that she's done, like in her local areas that got posted on YouTube or something, please let me know. I want to watch it. I won't post it on this channel. This is just for personal observation.
So we all know you do stand up.
Mhm.
What's one of your favorite jokes?
Oh my God. My favorite joke. Ooh. I think it's my Hillary Duff joke. My Hillary Duff,
Tell
my Hillary
us.
Clinton.
Give
Well, I
us.
told it in one of our episodes already.
Give us. They
Okay,
may
I'll
not have
give it
watched
to
it.
I was gonna say it's the how much does a penguin weigh? I was gonna be like,
Maybe we need some new content for that Netflix special.
No, yeah, it's although I will say that the comedy scene is so it's a sausage fest, right? So one of my favorite things to do when I get up, like as soon as I get up on the stage, is because usually there's been at least 10 men that have been complaining about women the entire time.
I was literally about to say this is my favorite.
My favorite thing is to get up and just be like, "Hey guys, I'm Allie, and are the men in this room okay? Are you okay?" Like,
Oh, that's so cringe. That's really cringe. Yeah, there's a lot of men in comedy, so there's definitely some women in comedy. I'm not one of those people who's like, women can't be funny. I think that's ridiculous. There's definitely a lot of really funny female comedians. But the least funny female comedians are the ones who blame men for the reason why they haven't made it yet. It's men's fault that they're not successful yet. And I do wonder if Allie has that talking point because she's already ragging on men.
maybe get off Tinder, go get some fresh air, and report yourselves to the police because this is not okay.
Ooh. Oh gosh. Ew. No, that's not funny. That's not funny. Refer yourself to the police because this is not funny. Yikes. I really have to wonder what the men in the comedy scene think of her.
But yeah, I have a joke about my bat mitzvah. A little Jewish kid. My bat mitzvah being a chunky 13-year-old, my options for my bat mitzvah dress were a little limited. And while all my friends were shopping, for their outfits to come to my bat mitzvah at the normal stores, if you will, my mom took me to Steinmart. And if you've never been to Steinmart, congratulations. So needless to say, all of my friends showed up to my bat mitzvah looking like Hillary Duff, and I showed up in a suit looking like Hillary Clinton. And I love that for me.
I just imagine you like taking your collar and be like, pop, pop, it's bat mitzvah time.
Baruch atah Adonai.
I wish that was funnier. I really do. It's so interesting how it always comes back to fashion. Again, just it's another fashion joke. It's our fashion story. Poor put upon little chunky kid. Fashion. Yikes.
You said that, I was like, welcome to my bat mitzvah, bitches. We're getting down to business.
The other really devastating thing about that, though, is that I went into the hairstylist that morning with like vision, right? An absolute vision. I was like, okay, I want
At
this
13?
yeah.
Girl,
Like
of
I want
course,
this
naturally.
part of my hair back in like little twists. And then the back of it, I want big curls. It wound up looking like cornrows and like a Jew afro in the back. It was not a good look.
Aw.
It was not great.
So what you're saying is next episode, we're gonna do your hair like that. We're gonna make those
Absolutely
dreams
not.
come
But
true.
will I find a picture? I will.
No, I meant we're gonna.
You know, I actually think Maria's funnier. Sorry. Maria's funnier because she knows how to take like something in the moment and throw it back at somebody. She's very witty. Maybe that's why she doesn't fit in with the podcast because she has a sense of humor. And I'm sorry to say that when Allie's the one who wants to be the stand-up comedian, but it's Maria who's had the best comeback this entire episode. That's probably why she had to go because she knows how to poke fun at others. She can poke fun at herself. Like that's a humanizing trait that they had to, I guess, do away with.
Gonna make the real dream come true. We're not doing that. Dang.
Crushing
I
dreams
tried.
last. Building dreams and crushing dreams. You know, it's all a balance.
No. Hillary does. That was unintentional.
It worked.
I have a question I want to ask, but it brings us back into a little bit of a heavier place, and I
Oh,
kind of
man.
like
All right,
where
Debbie
we are.
Downer.
I know.
Oh,
What's my
man.
issue? As your friend, we've actually not talked about this a lot. It has come up in conversation as a fact, but never have I actually, you know, dug a little deeper. But you've shared now with us and with the podcast, our listeners, viewers, that you have BPD.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I
To me too. Yeah.
Okay, when Maria said surprise, I'm sorry, Maria, but that didn't sound like you were actually surprised. It sounded like sarcasm.
There are stereotypes around mental illness to begin with. So let's just acknowledge and leave space for that. However, anxiety and depression have become more mainstream,
Sure.
a little bit more easy for people to digest and understand. What really impacted you from that diagnosis? What do you think people feel about it? What does it look like living with it? I want to know more.
Yeah. It definitely was. It was a big slap in the face. It was. I mean, that turned my life upside down. Because there's a lot of stigma around BPD.
Yeah.
I am 99.9% sure that my father also had BPD and just went undiagnosed, because it would explain a lot.
Yes. We were talking about this in the comments prior to this. We were talking, like, wondering if her dad had undiagnosed BPD because there is a genetic component to it, which thank you guys for sharing that with me. A lot of you did the research on my behalf, and I really appreciate it. I mean, you guys are a great little, brain trust to consult when I don't know something. So thank you. But yeah, that does make a lot of sense. And somebody also brought up in my comments that BPD has a huge overlap with those BINGE disorders. I think cluster B disorders in general. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm not like, ooh, gleeful, we figured it out, but like it does put some of the puzzle pieces together. We can actually understand like why she is the way that she is.
There's a lot of stigma around BPD. There is a lot of harsh language around BPD. A lot of
What?
like just misconceptions that everybody with BPD are abusers and aggressive and just absolutely unhinged and unsafe people. And
at the risk of sounding mean, have there been times that Allie has come off as just a little bit unhinged? I have to wonder with someone like Miria, when she was talking about leaving the podcast due to stronger personalities and bigger voices, and she's introverted, did aggression from this play a role? And yeah, there are stereotypes for sure, but those stereotypes are based off of the actual symptoms that they use to clinically diagnose you with it. Those things that include antisocial behavior, compulsive behavior, hostility, impulsivity, irritability, risk-taking behaviors, self-destructive behavior, self-harm, social isolation, lack of restraint. The moods can include anger, anxiety, general discontent, guilt, loneliness, mood swings, or sadness. And another thing that we really need to remember with BPD is that one of the huge characteristics that can occur with it, like a major symptom, is constant compulsive lying. So when you say you have this disorder, yeah, there's definitely stereotypes. Yeah, people should receive compassion, but we don't give compassion at the expense of reality. When somebody has one of these disorders, it's like definitely get help for it, but they diagnosed you with it for a reason. Like something really tells me that Miria saw the other side of the coin.
I will readily admit that not all of those things are untrue if you don't do the work. But it's not necessarily like in a way that like, oh, I would have hurt you in the past, right? Not physically. Mentally, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I was hurt, because I had been hurt, and because of my lived experiences and the way my brain processed those lived experiences, I decided that all of those lived experiences, okay, well, that's going to happen every time. Right. So the black and white, it's very much living in the black and white of, okay, well, every time I've been in a situation like this, it's happened this way. And so I can't trust you because you remind me of this person and you're not safe. You're not safe. You're not safe. You're not safe. You're obviously doing something bad. I don't know what it is, but you remind me of this person. So you're a horrible person.
It just reminds me of what she said in one of the earlier videos that we did on this same episode, where she talked about how, and I thought there was something wrong with me. And it's like, well, there was something wrong with you. It was this. And you just have to wonder how she's transferred all of the symptoms of BPD, all of the things that she would put that aggression towards in her personal life, and now she is projecting it onto society in this idea of fat acceptance. Like, it's so clear to me that that's what's happening. I really hope it's clear to you guys too.
And like just prejudging and like having preconceived notions about everything, about people, places, things. Just I wasn't living my life because I was future pacing every problem, right? And I still have to work on that. I still have to fight through that. It's not, I'm still doing the work, right? But it is something that I would encourage people if they, if they feel like they, might have any inkling that they feel any of those things, like look into it because it is worth exploring, worth getting a diagnosis and doing the work. There is no medication that's specifically for BPD. There is no treatment that's specifically for BPD. There are treatments that are used for a myriad of mental health things, mental health diagnoses, DBT, EMDR. There's there's all kinds of things.
Somebody in my comments actually brought up that she should be doing DBT, so I do wonder if she's done it. And I do agree with her that it's worth getting diagnosis and you can get help. But like I said, I think she's presenting herself as much healthier than she actually is. Because we've listened to the things that she said. Like we've seen and watched these episodes. Like she's still projecting a lot of anger on the world, and she actively misrepresents stories in order to make a point. It's like she's still engaging in those things that are characteristic of BPD. Obviously, we have no evidence it's happening in a personal life, but it would not surprise me if a lot of people in fat acceptance have these cluster B personality disorders. And I say that because I feel like a common characteristics of these disorders is that you really, really, really lack the ability to take accountability for your actions, You fail to see your own personal responsibility towards your health. And we always wonder, like, why can't they get out of it? Why can't they get out of it? Some do, but they tend to be like the nicer ones of FA. But some, they just like, they sit and they stew and they spiral further and further into fat acceptance, and they blame everybody but themselves for their situation. Yeah.
That's right. But there's nothing specifically for BPD because it's very, very complex, extremely complex. I will say it is incredibly loud in my head all the time. All the time. I have to do a lot to get it to be quiet, and it's still like adult roar.
Yeah.
But I've learned to work with it.
How do you see it showing up in your everyday, your day to day? Or do you not anymore?
Not so much anymore. It used to affect me so badly with my insecurities.
Mm.
I let it tell me that, everyone was unsafe. Everybody was talking about me. Everybody was against me. Everything was pointed at me.
We know for a fact that she still thinks that way. And we know that because of the way that she responded to Alex and I's videos. Yeah, we were actually talking about her. Yeah, we were criticizing her, but it was hate. It was us hating on fat women. It had nothing to do with the actual content that we were saying. And I made much lengthier videos, like really breaking down the things that they say and why it's inaccurate and why it's a problem and why it's actually harming people. And she didn't address any of that, but she did address the one comment that Alex said about how he hoped he was the reason that she quit. She didn't address anything that I said. She just addressed what Alex said. She took the one mean thing that he said and she made that the focal point of we were causing hate. She didn't take any of the nicer, more considerate things that I said in any of those videos. I want you to think about that for a second because there's a reason for it.
Everything was, somebody was talking about somebody, but they were really talking about me. And I was very insecure, extremely insecure. And it wasn't just because, I was a fat kid and, all those things. It was also because of the things that my brain told me, but I have done a lot of healing, but it's something I'm going to have to fight every day and continue to work on.
As your friend, just as an outsider to your brain, right? I don't get to see in there. What I notice and probably what I would say is the biggest change in our friendship, having known you for a couple years now, but really probably getting most close in the last 5 months or so, is really seeing the way you do work through those. So like you might have an initial thought, but you're willing to kind of chase that thought and say, like, is this reality? Should I ask more questions? How am I feeling about it? What's that feeling coming from? And you often include us in that processing, and I think it's helpful. It's a modeled processing for me personally, because I deal with anxiety and I internalize things and I say something's a reality, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I should ask them. Who would have thought? But I see you walking yourself through it, right? And I think that is a learned thing to know how to walk yourself through it, but also like a giving yourself grace of like, it might take me a little bit to process this and see where I land, and I still might end up with the conclusion that someone's not safe. Like that conclusion's not necessarily a false conclusion, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to interrogate why I'm feeling this way and think it through. And I'm, as an outsider again who has never dealt with BPD, but who still sometimes struggles to solve my own problems, I'm impressed. I admire your ability to do so. Yeah.
What's wild to me is that the person that's been most influential in my like BPD journey and helping me quiet my brain, I call him the calm in my storm, is James. And he's 26. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna leave it off there. I just saw her put somebody on a pedestal up there, and yeah, I hope he doesn't get knocked off the pedestal. That's something I've also noticed with BPD people is that they really do attach themselves to other people. They latch on to people. As she was talking about knights in shining armor, she did the same thing with her dad. Either your worst enemy or your knight in shining armor. And I'm just like, oh, well, you saw the pattern repeat itself right there. And hope the relationship works out. Definitely not dooming that. Not trying to say she shouldn't have a relationship or me not hope it doesn't work out, but yeah, that was pretty telling right there. But yeah, okay. Well, that was interesting. It started off very boring and then it got interesting again. And hopefully the last 15 minutes of this podcast continue to be interesting because I'm going to cut out a lot at the beginning of this. You do not need to hear any of that. But yeah, I feel like we picked up a few more clues. I feel like Allie was really telling on herself here. She's like, I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. And then Miria laughed, and it's like, kind of have to wonder if you did it just a little bit. Did the mask slip? Did Miria make one too many probing jokes in your direction? Because, like I said, you may want to be a stand up comedian, but we know you can't take a joke very well. You kind of need to be able to do that to have that career. But yeah, anyways, guys, let me know what you think down below, and I will see you in the next one. I'm filming that tomorrow. I can only do one of these at a time. I'm barely making it. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.